Hello everyone and welcome to Zeepkist Cup of the Day. For those of you who don't know how this works, we get 10 minutes to practice a map we have never seen before, after which there will be 2-minute elimination rounds where the slowest players get eliminated. This week we have a map by Pants and Codewalt. I assume Pants layout and code deco. This is the first time we've had a Pants map in Cup. It is a bobsled. This is not how you're supposed to take this. I'm going to turn players on. Things are a little laggy today, I think, as a result of the V17 update and mods being outdated and stuff. So I'm going to try to keep players off most of the time, but at least for the beginning, try to see some lines. Where am I going? Up here, over here, yeah. Oh, not there. That's a tree. Loop to the left. It's these big bobsled turns. I like this track, actually. I feel good about this. Ooh, a risky. I feel less good about this. No, actually, I think this risky looks fairly simple, just if you're on the correct oscillation of the bobsled. We'll see. It's hard to say what the correct oscillation is just by looking at it. But that's how I interpret that risky. Ouch. Okay. Panda Main does not like the bobsled, apparently. We were just complaining about that in the last warm-up map, which was the Seabad Cup bobsled map. This is a different kind of bobsled for sure. That drop down is kind of blind and I keep forgetting to set up correctly. This one, unfortunately, the full traction road saves you. And that felt like a bad setup. And then, oh, that's actually a drop down. Never mind. Okay, that is not what I expected that to be. And then, yeah, and then you death finish. Get the risky that way. No, you don't. Okay. Alright, I think I just didn't know what to expect at the end of the track. I think that was the problem there. So, oscillate. I think this is, even though it looks strange... oh man, I keep messing that up. So even though it doesn't look like a normal bobsled track, because it doesn't use the tubes, it uses like the quarter pipes and wall pieces, I think it plays like a normal bobsled track. Like, just do the oscillation you would do, which, you know, easy to say because I kind of understand bobsled. I know a lot of other people don't, and they're going to be very lost about this. But I feel like, for the most part, it's just kind of do what the car wants you to do. I'm not super sure about this turn. Yeah, so you do want to be coming down a little bit. That was not the worst thing to ever happen, though. And yeah, the risky, if you have speed, the risky's easy. Looks like we've got a very stacked lobby, especially for an ice map. Kern Cobb already blowing everyone away. A2 is a 41.6. Looks like we've had 3 people beat that already. There's a couple tricky parts of this track. One of them is this section I'm coming up to right now because you do actually, I think, want to drop down here in that corner so that you get back up onto the wall for the next transition. Ooh, that was strange. This part I need to remember to be set up better for. It doesn't matter too much, though, because this black road saves you no matter what line you have. And then this, I need to be coming down. Not that hard. I think I hit a rock on the side, too. That's how you can tell it's Codewalt deco. There's a rock in the way. And that's somehow going to be an improvement. I want to take a look at this, because I hit something here. This is full traction. This red stripe in the middle is full traction. Because I slid out hitting this on the way down. This is, you can see this is stone, not ice. So that marks 2 weeks in a row where the track is memorized the spots that are full traction and the spots that are ice. Oh, yeah, okay. I just need to remember the lines. I feel like I'm trying to do things that are not the things that were working for me. So this spot, you come up here, come out even, kind of drop down for that corner, so you end up high again. Don't slide out there. And you come around to the left. That was the best angle I've had on that so far. Ooh, I slid a little bit. You actually want to counter steer there a little bit, or you will be sliding. That is a tough drop down. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you get a big jump like I did there. But you would want to be landing more on the downhill. Which is probably how Kern's getting that 40.8. It's a tough one to set up for. It's not the line I wanted to have. I got kind of stuck on the high end of the wall there. So Kern obviously going to be the favorite. Not only is he one of, if not the fastest racers in Zeepkist, but he's also probably the best bobsled racer, hands down right now. Of course, a bunch of people giving him a run for his money. People like Zoman, people like Round, who's passing me now. We got Seabad, the OG bobsled expert. We got Hydro in here. We got Sandals, who's good at bobsled. I'm down 14 speeds. This is not representative. Ooh, Seabad did like an oscillation. I want to see what my time ends up being here. Ooh, that was a high. Okay, it's not a time. I think Seabad had a line there that I liked, but I only saw the back end of it. I wonder if one of those red lines is ice also, because I felt another slide on the previous run. I wanted to take a look at that. This is not what Seabad did. I messed it up. Okay, I got a little bit of that downhill. There we go. That was good. That was a good landing. Nice. Good run. 41.3. I am very happy with that. I'm not usually this close to the top this early on. I want to do a run through this track and actually just note down every single bit of red on this track. This line right here is the one I'm thinking about. That is hard to tell, actually. I think that is ice. Are these? Yeah, these are ice. Someone just drove over me there. That was rude. And I know these are ice. I can tell these are ice. So I think all the red lines are ice. There's just one bit of red on this track that isn't ice, which happens to be that bit of concrete that's like on the racing line and is very awkward to work with. Seabad, like I said, the bobsled master, goes fastest to the 40.8. Looks like I've got about 2 runs left in warm-ups here. I feel like I understand this track though. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at bobsled also, not to the extent that some others are. But obviously I'm not that far behind. And I want to do this, this was the line I saw Seabad doing. It was a low entry, run up high, and then kind of naturally come back down. That wasn't super natural, actually. Ooh, hit that rock on the inside. Another Codewalt staple. The rock on the inside line. Good thing to know, know that can happen to me now and not later in the elimination rounds. Low jump. Okay, I don't have time to finish another run, but I can get to the dangerous drop down. Kern with a 40.5 at the end of warm-ups. Yeah, Kern is good at bobsled. So if you go too low, you end up too high. $40.5, 4 people in the 40s, Zoman just outside of it. So this is going to be a tough one. Sandal's only down at a 42, which is a little surprising given that I consider him to be one of the better ice players as well. Late load-in because I forgot to turn players off. I don't know how much running mods on this new update of Zeepkist is slowing me down as well. But I'll just keep players off. That'll actually help a ton. Solid line. Make sure you jump far enough to the left here. And let's not go too low. Nice middle ground. Come down a little, or not. I guess we'll just jump it. Jumping is actually like the safe way of doing that. The risky comes up a little fast, but other than that, it's not too bad to deal with. I can see if you're not prepared for it. It might be a little bit of a struggle, but you're given enough time on full traction there to realign yourself. Okay, I was fighting the ice a little bit. So yeah, I lost the speed advantage I had, but this shouldn't be too bad. Down a bit of speed, I can gain at the end here. Actually get some downward motion this time. Slightly better, maybe. That checkpoint's going to be not an accurate speed representation. Tiny improvement. So that checkpoint at the end's not going to be super helpful for tracking speed, because depending on how you jump that, you may or may not hit the ground before hitting the checkpoint. So that last time it said -2 speed, but that was because I hit the ground already. I had lost the speed after hitting the ground on the previous run. Or, I mean, after the checkpoint, I had hit the ground. So current comp again with the 0.4. We do not have GTR running, unfortunately, so I can't keep track of personal bests super easily. Eight players DNFing in round 1. I could see this being a little bit of a difficult track, especially if you're not comfortable on ice like I am. It can be a difficult track to finish consistently in a 2-minute time frame. I am just going to take this run. I know I can go faster, but at this point in the cup, I'm just going to take the first run. Unfortunately, this drop down comes like just at the time when you can no longer reset for 2 full runs. Maybe if I'm really fast, I can get at least around to the ice section there 3 times. Ping with the 420.69, nice. That was a bad oscillation through the start. Again, I'm going to be up speed because it was better than last time, but it's still not great. I think I want to be well over 180 coming to that flat section at CP4, I think that is. Oh, got a little bounce. Wow. The ice, actually, the red lines, the ice makes this a little scary because you don't quite have the traction you're going to have at the very edges of the track. It is a little terrifying to go through there. Current Cobb sets another record of 40.37. Seabad looking fast. Round. Looks like the same people as usual. Palfly up there in the top 5. He has no idea how he got that time, so disregard that. Oh, that was a better start. What is this one? It's still 182. So it seems like Kern Cobb is the favorite, followed by Seabad Hydro Round. That's been the consistent top 4. People like Zoman and myself have been kind of bouncing around that area. Wonder if I'm steering too much on that section. Ooh, this is going to be a high entry. That was a slide, but it... Okay. I have time. I have time for 2 runs. This is a different oscillation. Ooh, I might like that, though. Yeah, I think this is the hardest part. Oh, there's the 2 hardest parts. There's that drop down towards the end that's really hard to actually line up properly. But I feel like as far as getting solid runs, that section is the hardest part. The kind of like, I'm going to call it the wall hopping section. So there is an oscillation pattern you need to have through there, and it's not the easiest to pull off. So I'm into the 40s this time, and that's a personal best for me, 41.1. Still only 5th place, as it seems like everybody's decided to get a sub 41 this round. Sandals and Zeklo joining the sub 41 club. This is a strange oscillation. Might have worked out for me. Not necessarily. I think the important part is getting practice at the ending, though. There's Kern with his usual 40.4. Man, I'm just doing the jump down, which is not how I want to be doing that. 41.6. So I'm very consistent in the 41s, at least. And I know I can do the 40s. Everybody decided to get a 40.9 this round. So 7th place. Definitely feels like that's kind of where I'm hanging out this cup. They're like 6th to 8th. Unfortunately, I think the cup leaderboard's not working. The full cup leaderboard. So we just have the leaderboard on this side and the elimination messages in chat. Which is unfortunate because I like to be able to check that. I should probably pay more attention to my speed at that before CP6. That final corner there is difficult to do at top speeds without sliding out. I'm just gonna watch Kern, because he's clearly doing something different. $187, sure, yeah, he's just faster. Okay, I'm gonna do another run because I have time. I think what I need to see is actually Kern's start. Because he's got the speed before that point. Oh, this is actually really solid speed. Oh, I messed it up, though. I threw it. Now, let's see if Kern is kind enough to do another start for us. It doesn't look like it. Oh, no, wait. I think he's trying things right now. Or he saw me spectating and doesn't want to show. So this leaderboard's messed up, so I really need to be paying more attention to what's happening on the side of the screen coming to the end of rounds. And me did leave, said he had to go, so saved somebody from getting eliminated that round. I think this is the strategy, is just reset on the first corner. Ooh, I had a slide there. I saw, yeah, that's not great speed. If you look at the bottom of my screen, there's the tire indicator. Right, so it's blue when you're in the air, and it goes yellow when you're having a slide, even on ice. So sometimes you can't feel it. This was actually, I think, a big thing for me in Showdown, which happened last weekend. There is actually a red ice map on Showdown. That was kind of a big thing for me to determine where I was actually losing speed, seeing where the tires went yellow. On the indicator, up to the risky, please. Okay. So keep an eye on that, because I did notice they went yellow right in here. Yeah. But I can't go that high up. Maybe I can. I need to see somebody else's start. Kern doesn't have time for another run. Is he gonna... Nope, he's not gonna give me anything. Is Seabad gonna give me anything? Sandals needs to get a time, by the way. Seabad's not gonna give me anything either. Great, you guys are being so helpful. Sandals coming to the end, needs this time. The only person without a time right now. Looks like he'll get it just fine. Whole bunch of people jumping into the finish right at the end here. And yeah, I don't think there's any last second snipes. Kern with a 0.1. Zoman also with a 0.3. Might have figured out this track now. Those guys are going to be very difficult to beat. Yeah, I didn't like that. I was actually sliding the whole time. You can't really hear it on ice. Not like the screeching tires you would get on tarmac, but there was a slide there. I think I can have more than 173. And I think I'm going to get away with that really strange line. This isn't going to be the fastest run, but it's probably enough to get me out, and it will... I will get a second attempt. Getting this drop down better, but it's still not super comfortable yet. 41.6, very consistent in the mid 41s. Haven't quite been able to replicate my 41.1. Very high oscillation. Okay, I've kept 175 this time. Ooh, I need to get that. Yeah, okay, I had a rough landing there, so I lost some of that speed. We'll see what it is down here. It's a bit the same. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm starting to understand the beginning. You want to oscillate more than I have been. But not too much, because then you end up, like, just way offline for the important parts of the track. Which is not what you want to be doing. This is not going to be an improvement. Do we have one person just hand-a-main without a time right now? See who's coming to the end. A whole bunch of people are. Including Pandamain into the risky will get out safely. Final people coming in. No last second snipes. Camera freaking out. Don't worry about it. Kernkop and Zoman again the top two. Yeah, Hydro Seabad looking very strong. Pandamain says he's not confident on Bobsled, but I think he's been holding well in a similar position I have, around like 5th to 7th. .175 is good, but I need to get this. Oh, yeah. You do pretty much need to be on the flat part of that wall. You can't be coming down into the tubes section of that wall ride. Right, you need to be up here, where it's flat when you make this first drop down, and then same thing on the second when you ride back up to where it's flat. 183 is very nice. And you actually have to turn pretty hard to the right there to keep the car from sliding. Not bad on the drop down. Very hard to run at those speeds through that corner. Nice. Personal best, I think. I think it was a 0.1 exactly. So, tiny improvement. Only 7th, though. Wow, 41.0 is now 7th place on this track. I think this is very good speed. If I can get that. Okay, good. Ooh, nice. Yeah, that was good. I was like right at the line between the wall ride and the tube section of the track there. Nice. Not quite the speeds I've seen Kerncott doing through there. Oh, and then I had a little bit of a slide. That split's going to be a little strange because of how high I hit the checkpoint. Yeah, okay, I lost that speed. That loop in the middle of the track that I kind of haven't thought twice about yet, that actually might be a big spot where I'm losing speed. Got a few people without a time. And I'm not going to get to the end of the track in time to see anyone coming to the finish. I think that was, yeah, the cup mod is broken. I think Alex DNF'd. We'll see when we get into the next round here. Current cup with another 0.1. Wonder if we're going to be seeing sub 40s by the end of this. Doesn't feel like the times are necessarily dropping. You know, it kind of seems like the best players are hitting 0.1 and that's it. Or just Kern, I guess, is hitting 0.1s. But we will see. 185 is nice there. I know Kern had like 188 the one time I saw him through there. Oh yeah, the slide out there. Maybe I need a different entrance to that section. I have an idea. I'll try it on my second run. Top 16, final round of 4 eliminations. 41.3, is that safe? Probably. I feel like there's been a gap behind me in times. I'm not super certain about that. I feel like my 41s haven't really been contested. Come on, get a good oscillation. That was an okay oscillation. Actually, that's going to end up being pretty good. Okay, now this corner's going to be tough, though. Oh. Okay, I got a really clunky landing there, but I think I liked that a lot better, that the way I did that loop. Not very far off, given that I, like, kind of crashed the ending. Zoman without a time. I'm currently in 10th, so a few positions to give. Zeklord coming in, improves to 5th place. Palfly, right on the bubble, still on the bubble, makes a slight improvement. And Palfly does get knocked out. Zoman comes in for the snipe right at the end, knocks Stick out as well. Magical and Mural also knocked out in this final round of 4 eliminations. Alright, so I need like the 41-0, but hopefully with that new, oh, by the way, that's a 40.0 by Current Cop. Current, I think, is still on track for a clean sweep as well, which he already has quite a few of. Slide out there, didn't like that. Don't like that speed. I think this needs to be a good run. I don't think I can settle for my usual 41. Need at least the low, super low 41. It should be a good start to that. Nice, I like this. Contemplating putting a steering limit on just to help me out with that corner. And there we go, the personal best. Okay, I think the new way through the loop helped me out quite a bit there, actually. Did I just caster curse Curran Cobb's clean sweep attempt? Did not have the cleanest first run by his standards. Mew and Owl currently in the elimination zone. This is just rough. Nope, Current Cop puts in 40.1. And I am down speed. I'm just going to practice this beginning. Sandals gets knocked down into the elimination zone. That 41.3 that I had last round was 11th place. So it looks like That was about what I needed again. That was a nice start. It is Sandals and Mew eliminated 11th and 12th. Zoman pretty close to elimination. It does seem like even the best players are having the occasional high 41 or high 40 or low 41 time. Very high. Is this going to be good or bad for me? I think good, actually. It's very dependent on how this section goes. That felt nice. I'm so high. Ah! Okay, not the ideal situation, but I'm going to take this run. Thought I was going to crash. This isn't the fastest run, but it might be enough to get through. A little bit of a slide up, but that didn't cost me too much. Oh, that was not amazing. Ice line in the middle of that wall ride turn's a little scary. 41-0, I would guess, is safe, but it's gonna be tight. Goose and Owl play currently in the elimination zone. Everybody has one more attempt. And mine has not started amazingly. This might be salvageable. Okay, it's matching my first run. That was lower than I like to be coming in there. That was higher than I like to be. I think I kept the speed, though. Not amazing speed. I can do better at the ending. That was smoother. Come on, get a nice low drop down there. Nice, there we go. Uh-oh, I'm at, yeah, that was, yeah, nope. I was so far to the inside. It's never gonna make that corner. Fortunately, it looks like no one else is coming in. I think that might have been Goose right at the end there, getting 2 thousandths away. But it is Goose and Owl, yeah, Goose and Owl play getting knocked out in that round. One more round of 2 eliminations. And this is kind of where I've been finding myself, I think, for a lot of this cup, right around 7th place. Actually, it's where I've been finding myself in a lot of cups lately, is at 7th place. That's okay speed. That was a nice landing. Over 200 speed for the first time there. 41-0. That is going to be tight. The Kern and Hydro are very low there. Yeah, okay, nice speed. I have time to reset after this transition. That went smoothly, though. Nice, very good speed. Just see what Kern does one time, and it increases your speed by a whole lot. Not as clean an ending, though. Oh, no. This is going to be tight with the speed I have, I think. No, not enough. Even with the 40.8, not enough. Oh, and round makes an improvement. Oops, I had players on. Doesn't look like anyone's coming to the end, though. Oh, wow, 40.6 is what I needed. So I think my personal best was 0.7 early on in the cup. So yeah, 7th place. That is about where I ended up in this cup. Zoman looks like he's taking the fight to Kern Cobb here. Zeklord, I believe, the final of the non-Cup of the Day winners to get eliminated, down in 8th place. Into the top 6 here. Kern Cobb has 22 wins, Zoman 17. Round has 10, Hydro has 7, Seabat and Pandamane have 1 each. Seeing everybody still on their initial runs. Looks like Hydro might be a little bit slow. Or maybe Kern Cobb's just super fast. Kern Cobb actually resets after that loop. Does have time for 2 full runs still. See Zoman take a nice oscillation there and gets a much cleaner landing coming around these final corners. Will have more speed at the end because of that. And let's take a look at Kern Cobb. Kern and Pandamane not setting times first time around here. 40.8 is the time. Only 1 elimination now in the top 6, which I think might actually make these guys feel a little bit safer. Because it does just take one person getting a 40.8 for everybody else to be safe. Kern with well over 200 speed there. Wow, that is so fast. And that is another 40.0. Don't know exactly what the record is. First person Pandamane coming around the final corner here. Do they have the pace to make it out? They do. Let's find Hydro because Hydro needs the improvement most right now. He is coming into the finish right now. Into the risky, not enough to make it out. 40.673, just shy of rounds time. And do we see anybody else coming to the finish at all? It doesn't look like it. Hydro gets knocked out in 6th place. So many see him take that nice low jump. See what Zoman's time ends up being. Not an improvement on that 0.35. It does feel like Kern and Zoman have been pretty consistently 1 and 2 in the recent rounds. Yeah, 0.6 has been kind of right on the line for a few rounds now. Let's see if Round can do better than that in this round. You see Kern is the lowest there. At the beginning. Looks like Pandamane might have done a quick reset or loaded in late. And let's take a look along with Zoman here, who's in the back of these 3. Yeah, Kern with a little bit of a different line. Oh, Zoman with a very different line here, doing a lot more oscillation. Maybe helping him set up for this drop down, but of course, Kern Cobb gets it just as well. Kern flying out ahead. Went a little bit high on that final wall, right? I don't think he wanted that. Still a 40.2 from Kern and only a 40.8 from Zoman. That is not safe with the times we've been seeing in these previous few rounds. Everybody still with attempts at another full run round, just hitting 200 speed despite what looks like a kind of rough landing. But up into the finish is a 0.4, which is better than he's been doing in the last couple rounds. Seabad needs a time, and Pandamane probably wants to improve that 0.6 as well. Seabad at a different line through that loop, kind of coming out of the ice section very high, practically on the roof. And that kind of big jump is not going to be comfortable for Seabad. Let's see what this time is as he comes into the finish. And it is not enough, 40.839. So Seabad will be eliminated in 5th place. Kern Cobb improves to another 0.0. Zoman coming around to the finish again as well, looking to improve his time. Knows he does not need it, with Seabad's time being final. Zoman does improve, though, to a 0.2 again, so it is Kern Cobb and Zoman pretty consistently 1 and 2. Everybody separated by 0.2 in this round. Kern Cobb, Zoman, Round, Pandamane, and Seabad getting knocked out in 5th. Pandamane, who said that they were not comfortable with Bobsled, is holding on. Can they actually put in the times it takes to beat the remaining players? It does feel like Round and Pandamane have been dropping down into that 0.6 range, which is most definitely not going to be safe. Kern Cobb with a slightly different oscillation. I think Round might have messed up his oscillation. He's probably resetting that behind this. Completely different lines, just all the way around that loop. Kern pulling out to the front now. Oh, Round is still here on the back end of this pack. A lot of very different lines. I'm not entirely sure why, but it is, once again, Kern Cobb and everybody separated by 1/10 again. Just basically added 0.1 to their times in the last round, and that's what we've got in this round. Everybody on their second run still, so still nobody having taken an extra reset. Round with 176 is good speed at CP2 into this section, which is so crucial. Pandamingo's very high, and there's the first actual reset of this round. Zoman takes a reset as well as just Kern Cobb and Round with this time. Pandamain most in need of the improvement. Round will want to improve that 0.5 as well. Does go for a super late reset, but will have just enough time to make that improvement. Kern Cobb coming around the final corners is going to be safe with that 0.1, but let's see what he puts in right here. No improvement for Kern Cobb, not that he needs it. Pandamain into the loop. Let's see how he fares coming out of this. He goes very low at the end there, onto the flat ground of that next turn. Not the greatest speed from Pandamain. Let's see if it is enough to get him out of this round. It is only an improvement to a 0.6, and it looks like everybody else is done. And my camera is sideways because Kern Cobb's lying on the ground over here, and I'm not sure why that is happening. Kern Cobb, Zoman, and Round, the top three. The three most winningest members in this lobby. Again, Kern Cobb with 22 wins, Zoman with 15, Round with 10. Zoman loads in last. A very fast reset from Round, not liking the entry to the first bobsled. And Zoman stays lower than Kern this time, keeping 177. Coming into CP2, is very fast speed. You actually see Zoman is pulling ahead of Kern. An unusual sight in this cup. Here comes Kern, though, seems to have found the speed. 189. They're into this loop, which everybody seems to be doing differently. Kern Cobb really pulls ahead there, and then Zoman does the oscillation here that nobody else is doing. Very strange, a lot of different lines. It seems like Kern Cobb's is correct, though, as Kern has shot off down the track. First finishes coming in. Wow! New world record, and right on the dot, 40 seconds from Kern Cobb. 40.19 from Zoman. So that run where Kern was running away from Zoman was an incredibly good time. I think a personal best from Zoman. Kern looking to keep that clean sweep alive, though. That is going to be a tough time to beat. And given how Kern usually runs in these Cup of the Days, I'm expecting a 39 in the finals. That's my prediction. I'm putting it out there right now. I think Kern's getting a sub 40. Round needs to find over half a second to knock out Zoman. I believe that is a personal best from Zoman. Faster than anybody other than Kern Cobb. So Round is going to need a personal best and then some to get that 0.1. Strange line through there, but seems to have speed. Let's see how he gets this drop down. It is pretty clean, but I don't think this is 0.1 pace. It is not an improvement from Round NZT. Kern with not quite enough time to get another run in. So Kern Cobb and Zoman on to the finals. Will we see a sub 40? Or actually, given the rounding, that could be a sub 40. And it's just ended up as a 40.0. Into the finals, Kern Cobb versus Zoman. Kern looking for the clean sweep. Zoman does an immediate reset, I think wanting to steal Kern's lines. I mean, Zoman with the 0.1 does, I think, know what the good line is, but still wanting to see what Kern Cobb is doing. Zoman, I think, might have even done a second reset, not liking his beginning. Kern Cobb 188 speed, not quite as fast as he was when we spectated him in the previous round. Let's see what Zoman's got out here. 184, not very good speed, and I think if I were Zoman, I might be looking for a reset here while he still has time to get 2 runs in. He's not doing that, though. Kern Cobb, his first time in the finals, what will it be? A 40.158. That would require a personal best from Zoman. Zoman with a very low final corner, 40.4. They still have time for another run. Kern Cobb right at the beginning. Zoman a little bit behind him, 176 speed. Not the fastest we've seen. Let's see what Zoman can do here. A little bit of an awkward oscillation. He is going to reset, as is Kern Cobb. So here we go, both of them together at the start of this track. Final runs now. As we tick down towards 40 seconds, the final attempt at a reset. They can see CP2 before they go for that reset, but Kern with a 177 is flying. Zoman right in front. Ooh, a little bit of a harsh landing, I think, from Kern Cobb. Let's see. Yeah, does not like that. So Kern not going to get the sub 40. Can Zoman do anything about that? I think he has the pace. Does he have it on this run, though? I'm not sure this is the greatest speed, and he does not. So it is Kern Cobb's the clean sweep number 4 against Zoman, the only other player to have a clean sweep in Cup of the Day. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to join Cup of the Day yourself, join the CTR Discord where these events are announced. And if you want to see all stats and results, I will post the link to my spreadsheet in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.